were priests, some were religious, some had a family, some were consecrated virgins. And if we talk about personal holiness, I encourage every one of the viewers to start this journey of searching the way of sanctity that God has prepared for them. And I'm convinced by the church teaching that there's a way for everyone listening here to this program.
Yeah, that's very true, because just recently we celebrated the feast day of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. And when you read her story, she was married, so which means she was a lay person, but even in her marriage, she dedicated herself to serve the poor, the sick, and even when the husband died and left her, she was a very young widow, she now fully dedicated her life to serve the poor and the needy in her society, which is something that as nowadays or day-to-day Christian, we should imitate and emulate and see as lay people, how can we also live such kind of a life? Now, how does the spirituality of Communio Sanctorum understand and promote sanctity among its members? How does your community promote sanctity among your members? You've talked about a community with sisters and you guys and you priests serving in South America. Yeah. So how do you promote sanctity among the members?
Inside of our community, our way to sanctity is the silence and the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament.
Okay.
Because in many languages, the Blessed Sacrament is called the most holy of sacraments. In Spanish, for example, the language that they speak in Ecuador, the Blessed Sacrament is called Santísimo, which means most of holies.
Most of holies.
So if you want to become holy, you have to get close to the one who is the most holy of all. And that's why in our rule of life, we have this idea that if it's possible, of course it's not possible always, but if it's possible to spend every day 3 hours with the Blessed Sacrament. That for our consecrated members is the way to sanctity.
Wow. I think it's going to be a little bit challenging saying 3 hours every day. Okay, it is very possible, but you find like lay people like me, we are more focused on work, socio-economic development than the hours that we're supposed to dedicate. To be honest, like personally I go for Mass every morning and we normally have adoration afterwards, but I can't spend more than 15 minutes. I'm always on my watch, like, yeah, I need to go to work, you know. So that is it's also a calling on its own. And I believe those who are doing it, that's a very big sacrifice from our day-to-day life. And in our busy and distracted world, what concrete steps can Christians take to grow in personal holiness? Yeah, like I've just said, I'm always on my watch, like what time am I going to finish and rush to work? So what are some of the concrete steps that we can use as Christians to help us develop that personal holiness?
I think the first step is to recognize what I tried to explain, that there are different ways to sanctity. As I said, these 3 hours, they are specific to the consecrated members of our community. And we do not expect that from every lay person that tries to live our spirituality. Here we distinguish very carefully between the members that made their formal vows and the lay people who come to our community. So the first step is to recognize there are different ways to sainthood. The second way to sanctity, from my perspective, is to do small things with great love.
Wow.
I encourage every viewer to study the life of Saint Therese from Lisieux. She is exactly the saint who recognized, I do not have to do extraordinary things to be a saint.
Wow.
It's sufficient to do ordinary things with extraordinary love. And that can be in the family, in the workplace, and wherever has God put us. And most of the time it's not what we do, but the intention with that we do it. That makes the difference.
Wow. Yeah, that's very true. Being intentional with everything that we do. And also we don't have to do big things. We start with small, changing a life at a time, helping that needy person, one person at a time. We don't have to support the entire community. So which is, I think, that is something that we need to learn. That always we need to know that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step at a time. So every day we try to endeavor to do one simple thing, but it should be intentional. Wow, that is very great. I think it's something that I've learned, being intentional with every simple thing or activity that I do or an activity that I carry out. So what role do prayers, sacraments, and community life play in shaping an authentic journey towards sanctity? Yeah.
All of the three are essential. Prayer, sacraments, and community life. In one way or another, we need all of the three.
Yeah.
Let's start with prayer. Prayer is essential because at the end, sanctity is a gift. It's not something that we produce only with our own forces and our own strength.
Yeah.
It's something that God grants to us in His mercy. And whatever God gives us, normally we receive it through prayer. So an important part in the way of sanctity is simply ask God, make me a saint. A very simple prayer, but it can be very powerful.
Yeah.
The sacraments are also very important in the life of every Christian because